Hello there everybody, how's it going? It's Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on FlossTube. I am coming to you on this Friday, December 18th, 2020 with my next update video. December 18th. We're a week to Christmas. We are 2 weeks to the end of the year. Wow, we are really coming to the end here, huh? That's just pretty wild. This video is going to be a little bit special in the sense that this is the last time I will film in this location. My channel, I started a little over 7 years ago, and I've always filmed here, and this is the last one from this house. The movers are coming next week to take the big stuff, and we'll be pretty much permanently at the new house as of next week. So that's pretty wild. That's why things are looking really bare. My china cabinet is empty and packed up. Over there, I've got a couple of Christmas cards. Shout out to Dawn, Frosty X Stitch, and Amy of Amityville. Thank you both for the Christmas cards. Yeah, Christmas cards are such joy, and I wanted to do Christmas cards this year, but too much going on. Too much for us to do Christmas cards this year. Anyway. Things are looking a little bare around the house. So yeah, that's happening next week. Welcome. I should probably say that, huh? Welcome to all of my returning viewers. Thank you for coming back. Thank you everybody for your comments. I really love the comment section. I am terrible at responding to comments, but I read each and every one multiple times, and I just really appreciate that. I don't know. I love that. In this socially distanced lifestyle that we all find ourselves in, that's really comforting. So thank you for the comments and all of the positive feedback that I get. If you're new here, welcome as well. I hope that you like what I have to show today. This is a channel that's mostly about cross-stitch, but obviously I talk about some life stuff. And then occasionally I'll talk about books and knitting when it applies. Today it's all cross-stitch. It's all stitchy stuff because I've been pretty focused on just that one aspect of my life. So more specifically, today I've got some administrative things to talk about, just a couple of comments and questions to go over, and then I have a few whips to talk to you about. Hopefully I can talk about them in like a shorter time frame than I did last update video. I watched my last update video recently just to try to refresh my memory because it's been about a month, and I need to change my channel name to the Long-Winded Stitcher. Good grief. So we're going to see if we can talk about each of these for about 5 minutes instead of 20. But I hold myself to nothing because it just gets going. Anyway, so a couple of whips, a little bit of stash acquisitions and some stitchy kindness. And then the bulk of this video, I think, is going to go towards plans. I'm going to talk to you about what I plan to do for the next couple of weeks here in December for these last 2 weeks. And then I'm going to talk briefly about 2021 plans. Briefly because there's no sense in me really making plans, like really concrete, really robust plans. There's no sense in it with baby dust stuff's impending arrival. So yeah, but I am going to talk to you nonetheless about what some kind of broad stroke plans are. So that's what you can expect today. And I think that we'll just go ahead and jump in, and I'll talk about a couple of things, some comments from the last video and some other stuff. So one quick follow-up. I talked a lot about Chatelaine, and Annette from Annette's Acre. She is an admin over at the Chatelaine support group on Facebook that I mentioned, and she asked that I just remind everybody that if you are wanting to join the Facebook group, come on over, but there are some questions that you have to answer in order to be able to join that group. And you must answer those questions, otherwise you will be declined. while I'm on that subject, there are a couple of other groups that are like that. Full Coverage Fanatics has some required questions, and WIPCO 2021 also has some required questions that you have to answer. Even if we're friends and we have been for 6 years, you still got to answer those questions because I got to keep it even across the board, right? So just a heads up. Look for those questions. If you aren't finding them, then request to join again, and you'll be prompted to fill out those questionnaires. Annette also mentioned something that is not on Facebook, which I know is important for Sarah, who is the one who posed the questions about Chatelaines last time, and that is the Chatelaine Gallery, which I will link in the description box below. It's a similar setup in that you can get up close and personal with people's finished projects so that you can see some details to help with your Martina interpretations and translations. So that is a really great resource that I completely forgot about, but that is linked in below this video here so that you can check that out. Okay, I think that's everything. Nope, I lied, that's not it. Whip parades. I want to talk to you guys about whip parades. First of all, a huge shout out to everybody doing whip parades right now. I love this season. I love whip parade season. It's just so much fun. It's enabling as heck. And if I'm going to try to limit new starts next year, it's a little dangerous to be watching whip parades right now. But anyway, can't stop me from shopping. Anyway, so yeah, really loving the whip parades. Keep them coming. If you've got a whip parade, put it in the description box. And if I haven't watched it yet, then I will. There's so much to watch on FlossTube right now with Flossmas and the overwhelming number of people doing Flossmas. And I don't care. I'll collect all the whip parades, and if it takes me 2 years to watch them, then so be it. So be it. There's 3 a.m. feedings coming in my lifetime, so in my not so distant future, so I'll be watching your whip parades. Anyway, my own whip parade. I last did a whip parade on New Year's Eve 2018, so into 2019. And I talked about the fact that I was going to plan on doing a whip parade every 2 years. And so time is up. It is about 2 years. So I need to do another whip parade. I do not have the stamina to film a 2.5, 3 hour whip parade. And with the number of whips that I have currently, that's what we can expect. So I'm planning on filming it in pieces, sectioning it up either randomly or intentionally. I haven't decided on that yet. But I want to ask you guys, would you rather I film those segments and mash them together and upload the 3 hour whip parade movie, or like a 5 days of a whip parade, the most ridiculous whip parade in the history of foreverdom, if it's going to take a whole week? I'm aiming to do about 15 to 20 whips per segment, and that's 4 to 5. Yeah, that's 4 to 5 segments. So would you rather that I mash it all up or upload little bits over the course of a few days? Let me know. Let me know in the comments what you would prefer for a whip parade from Jessie Does Stuff this year. There are some projects that I haven't worked on since that last whip parade, and that is a little bit nauseating, but nonetheless, there's also been a lot of changes, a lot of new starts. So let me know what you think about a whip parade. Okay, let's get into some works in progress, and let me show you the things that I have worked on over the last 4 weeks. Yeah, it's been a month. So first up I have to show you is my Raven Queen. This is the Raven Queen by Mirabilia. This is my oldest Mira, and it is my focus Mira. As I have done rather successfully with Mirabilias in the past, I have broken up this design into 25 stitch high segments by the width of the design, and I am working my way down. Now, so I worked on this for a few days. I think I had planned on putting it away December 1st, but I ended up not. I ended up just keep going. I just kept going, rather. So I got a little bit more done than I guess I was planning at that stage. But anyway, the fabric here is a 32 count Belfast in Haunted by Picture This Plus. It is super overcast today. Winter storm gale came through and didn't leave us a whole lot of snow, which was very, very sad to this snow-loving girl here. Yeah, it's just super overcast today, so colors might be weird. It looks pretty good right there, actually, but we'll see. So when I last spoke to you guys about this project, I had like 80% of the top section of the arch done. And so since then, I brought the arch down to my December goal. So my December goal line is right here. It cuts off the raven right there, and then all the way across. So that's kind of what I need to get to by the end of this month. So when I did that, I kind of worked the raven out to his beak so that I could work up so that I could get to the top of the stitching on her crown. Her crown is super elaborate, but it's basically just a bunch of beads. See that? So all of the stitching in her crown is done, which is a little wild. And then I worked my way down so that I could get started on her skin of her face, which I stitch 1/1. I do the skin on most of my Pretty Ladies 1/1. And then I also worked the highest turret of the castle back here. So I have still quite a little bit to go. My December goal line hits towards the bottom of her necklace. Her necklace is all beads, but I have all of that skin to stitch. So that's about what you can expect. I also have that collar that makes me think of Elizabeth I. So yeah. So she'll be a floating head and like, I want to say knees down. I really, really hope that this is all lining up. I still don't know, and I won't know until it's too late. A few folks made really, really smart suggestions on my last update that what I should have done was flip everything over. So essentially, when she was on my frame, flip her over like this, flip my chart over as well, because obviously, and then stitch my way down from there. That's so much smarter than what I did. I don't know why I don't ever think to stitch upside down, because when you stitch upside down, your top leg will go in the same direction as it does when it's right side up. That is not the case if you stitch sideways. That will change the direction of your stitches. But yeah, I just never think to do the upside down thing. It's almost like a fun trick. So I'm either going to be relieved that everything worked out, or kicking myself for not doing that. Her eyes are closed, and I haven't stitched in her eyelashes or eyebrows or anything, so she kind of looks like that creepy character from Pan's Labyrinth, you know, the one with the eyeballs, which I think is fun. So that is it for Raven Queen. It still needs to come out this month to finish up my December goal. Up next is a big one. It's a big one, but I'm just super, super proud. In This Moment by Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Jeremiah Ketner. My HAED focus for the year, really my project focus for the year, goal achieved. So I set the goal at 100,000 stitches this year. The whole impetus for that was the National Parks Challenge with Full Coverage Fanatics, in which we were to stitch 4,000 stitches on a full coverage design for each of 25 American national parks. I reached 100,000 this past Saturday. I reached 25 national parks this past Tuesday. So all done. All of it accomplished. Total came to 102,000 stitches and a few extra, like 102,032 stitches, I think was the total this year. So let me show you where she's at. And I will show you the back, but let me start with the front. So make sure, yep, threads are all hanging as they're supposed to. All right, I don't think that I'm going to be able to get her all in frame just based on where I'm sitting, but we'll get pretty close. Oh, gorgeous. This is 25 count cream Lugana from Zweigart, and I'm stitching this using the Called For DMC's 1/1 full cross. And so I'm just going to bring it in close to show you what I've done since the last video. So I was working on Frankenpage 20 and 21 because I worked them kind of together in tandem, if you will. And I think I had just gotten into it. I had just gotten it started. So I finished up page 20 like December 3rd or 4th, something like that. And then page 21 came just a few days later. Got that finished up. And then I got started on page 26. So you'll see in my before and afters the margins of page 26, but nonetheless. So there's page 26. And if I wasn't very close to burnout on this, if I didn't have to push so hard here at the end of the year, then I would keep going on page 26 because it's just so much fun to stitch. It stitches up really nicely. The colors in the swan just kind of flow down. The same was true in her bicep here, which I had to stitch on this page. The background is fun, but it's not confetti, but it's also not like super boring. I love these colors, these teals and darker blues. Yeah, I really enjoy this page. And it goes fast. I think I did like 2,200 stitches in the matter of 3 days. Yeah. And that was really, it wasn't like strenuous. So yeah, it goes really fast. But I think that would be good to save for next year. That's a good thing to sort of kick off the year with a page finish there pretty quick. Finishing page 21. Let's see. That was my 15th page for the year. 15! Last year I stretched for 9, and I thought that I was bonkers for doing it, and this year I hit 15. Now, obviously 5 of those pages were partials because these 3 along this edge here are 2/3, and the 2 on the bottom are half page. But still, 15 pages. I mean, 102,000 stitches. that is nothing to sneeze at for sure. I have exactly, according to Pattern Keeper, 63,110 stitches left. So I have less than Mini Pearl, but more than Faces of Fairy 201. Still left to do. There's still a lot to do. I mean, if you think about it, I don't really have the second swan yet. Yeah. And I haven't hit the halfway point on the bottom. There's 7 pages across, and I've only done 2. So I still have quite a ways to go. But I am nonetheless just crazy, crazy proud of the progress that I made this year, and it's been a lot of fun. what's really fun is seeing the before and afters, the comparison of where I started this year versus where I'm finishing. That's really fun to see. I put that up on my Instagram as well as on the Full Coverage Fanatics group, so you can check it out there. I'm not going to post it here because at the end of the year, I will do a sort of, in the same way that I did last year, a recap of my 2020 focus whips and where I got to with them. So you'll see that then here on the channel. But anyway, so proud, so excited. Cannot wait to get her finished next year. Okay, one more work in progress. After I reached the goal on In This Moment, I decided to go back to an event that I'm working on with semi-sane stitchers called Whip Wranglers. You've heard it spoken about in a few different places here on FlossTube. Basically, you have a list of whips that you submit, and then you roll dice to determine what project you're going to work on and for how many stitches. And so my next project for that was Blackwater Hollow Sampler by Stacy Nash Primitives. And I'll talk about why this was on that list for me when I get to plans, but this was the next one. I'll be honest, I was a little bit hesitant about working on a new project after working on In This Moment for so long because it's teeny tiny stitches. It's 1/1 in 25 count. And some of the projects that I have in my Whip Wranglers are on 28 count over 2. So those stitches would feel massive, especially after working on In This Moment for so many days in a row. But this was a really great one to transition to because it's still one thread and I'm stitching mine on 40 count, so the stitches are still tiny. So this was a really great way to sort of transition out of all of that over 1 stitching. Whether that was actually necessary, who knows? But anyway, so I started working on this on Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. And here is where I'm up to. Fabric here is a 40 count Newcastle linen in cottage stone by Color & Cotton. It was a fabric of the month. I don't know when. And threads are all of the General Art Sampler threads called for, with one exception. The horse I did in a Color & Cotton. I believe that's Lava Stone. So if it looks a little purpley, Lava Stone is a little bit purpley. But, so that's where I'm up to. So, all of my projects on Whip Wranglers, I have 10 projects listed twice each, and I randomized the order. So, my first roll for this project, I had to do 400 stitches. And then I rolled the dice again, and it gave me this project again, so I had to do 500 stitches, but it was a different space, and so I had to do the full amount. So I finished up the 500 stitches this morning, and I rolled again, and it rolled the same space again. So the way that Whip Wranglers works is that if the same whip number is called a second time, then you do half of what you would normally. I don't need to explain these rules and details at any great length, but so I rolled a 3 and had to do another 150 stitches. I was like, wow, my dice really, really like this project, which is okay because so do I. So that is what about 1,100 stitches got me. When I last showed this to you, and I'm not going to do before and afters on this because I don't do that mid-rotation and I'm still working on this. But I put in the first little bit of the fence here, and then I got working on the house. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this. But my threads, let me tell you. So You may recall that I started this project in September of last year on a 32 count, 2/2. And earlier this year when I worked on it, I hated that. I wasn't liking how big the stitches were. And on top of that, I had picked my own colors and I wasn't liking how my own colors were working. Like this was not working. So I started over on the 40 count, loving it. And I decided to go called for threads for the most part. So the vine that you saw there is in Old Hickory. And I have 2 skeins of Old Hickory that are not exactly the same. Yeah, you can see there. This one, the more used one, is a little bit paler. And this one here that's fuller, that I haven't used, is a little bit deeper, is a little bit more brown. And so I thought that for this vine, I was going to go with the one that was slightly more variegated, just so that you could see some of that variegation. So I went with this one. In the meantime, I had to get a hold of a skein of chamomile because I didn't have it in stash. And that has since arrived. And so I pulled it and added it to my threads here. And lo and behold, I lay it here next to the Old Hickory that I've been using. And they are almost identical. They are almost identical. See here. I'm sure that y'all can see that. I posted about this on Instagram stories too. That's fun. They're almost identical. Chamomile is the color that's called for in the house. And I decided that with all of the restart and the thread issues that I had at the beginning and not wanting to get it wrong and really not wanting to get it wrong after I've stitched some, so having to rip out on 40 count, no thank you. I just decided to go with it. So my house is in chamomile as called for and the vine is in Old Hickory and they look like the same color and I don't care. I don't care. It's all good. So you all saw how yellow that house is. I mean, it's like a greeny gold color. But then you look at the cover here and it's like a gray grain. But what Stacy Nash did with this is she hit it with like a walnut shells distressing after the fact, and I'm not going to be able to find it here. Walnut crystals, yeah. After the stitching, she hit it with that after the stitching. And it looks like the chamomile stitches here picked up a lot of that sort of aging agent and really darkened that up. I'm not going to be doing that. I'm not going to hit mine with walnut crystals after the fact. So my house is going to be a little bit more golden, and I really like the color of it. And I really love this coloring cotton fabric. It's lovely. So that is where I'm up to with Blackwater Hollow. And that's going to help us segue into plans. So let's talk about plans a little bit. Immediate plans. I'm working on Blackwater Hollow. I may not work on it anymore today, but I am going to work on it tomorrow. And the reason for that is that it's something that Sammy J started last year or the year before, I don't recall, called Finish That Stitch. Or if you are so inclined, finish that shit. I am doing Finish That Stitch goal December. So I'm not going to get a whole bunch of finishes, but I hope to get a whole bunch of goals accomplished. And if you take a look at my Webco board, currently, I printed this out just before starting filming. Actually, just before starting filming yesterday. iMovie quit on me yesterday. It's fine. I'm not salty about it at all. So the ones that are blacked out, goals accomplished. Cool, good to go. I have no Webcos. Again, it's my thing. I started it. I have no Webcos. It's terrible. I'm a terrible, terrible event host. Um, so I went through my WIPGO board and looked at some things that I thought I might be able to accomplish here in December. Keeping in mind, in this moment, Raven Queen, and another project that I'm going to show you here in just a minute, another 2 projects that I thought I might be able to finish here in December. But, and then I took my WIPGO board and circled the ones that I thought I could get those done. So Nantucket Rose just needs 5 days of effort. And so if I put in 10 stitches over the course of 5 days, that's that goal accomplished. And since I didn't work on that project, but I think I worked on it for 1 day last year, then just putting some progress into it is sufficient enough for me. Give Thanks, I don't think would take more than a handful of days to finish. Around the World in 80 Stitches, a similar situation to Nantucket Rose, except that I did not work on this last year. So I really need to put some time into that. And Blackwater Hollow, I put 1 day into it earlier this year, so I needed 4 days to get that goal accomplished. So if I put in 2 stitches tomorrow, then goal done, and I can mark that one off. So that's cool. If I get Around the World in 80 Stitches done, then I have a bingo, which would be great. that would be really fantastic. And then I have a couple others starred. So thine is the Trick and the Treat. It would take more than a handful of days, but my goal there is to get 2 pages done on it. And I am fairly close to 1 page. So we'll see. I mean, if that comes up, we'll see. And Glory of Autumn, the goal is to put 10 days on it, and I've done 3 so far. So it would take another 7 days. It would take a whole week, which I don't know that I'm going to get to. But those are some options. So these are the things that I put on my Whip Wranglers list as projects. In This Moment can still come out, and so can Raven Queen for Whip Wranglers. So we'll see what happens with the dice. I don't like switching projects so much, and so I'm going to be utilizing my Q snaps a little bit here to try to work on a few things at the same time. So for instance, I have reached my Whip Wranglers goal on Blackwater Hollow. I told you I rolled the same whip number again. So I've done that. And I've rolled again and I got a new project this time. So let me skip to that one. That one is right here. And so this one I will pop in the Q snap at least until tomorrow. This is Santa Claus is Coming to Town by Stitch Rovia. This is a project that I could definitely see myself finishing before the end of the year, which would be really cool because that would make 5 finishes for the year. 5. So anyway, so let me show you all of these projects and where I'm starting from. This is on a 32 count Belfast in ice crystals from Hand Dyed by Stephanie. And I'm not going to bring this in too close because this fabric color is showing perfect right now. And it tends to blow everything out. Beautiful fabric. Oh, I love this fabric. So yeah, I think I could get this done. It would take a few days. So this is going to go in a Q snap this afternoon. And I may start working on it this afternoon. And then once I finish my days of stitching on Blackwater Hollow, this may go on the frame, on the Millennium frame, to be my focus because I'd like to get it finished. So we'll see about that. Okay, let's go through all of the other stuff. Living in this Momily bag here is Thine is the Trick and the Treat. And I'm going to go through these wicked fast because simplicity's sake. So this is by Prairie Moon. Mine is an original. It's not one of the new PDFs. But there it is. I'm stitching it using Silks for You PRO 70, as well as DMC at 12310 and Classic Colorworks Belle Soie in Elegant Eggplant, I think is what it is. on 32 count Belfast in Jamie's kilt. Yes, Jamie's kilt. So that's where I'm up to. Let's see what 2 pages would get me. Let's see. I would have to, yeah, I'm not going to be able to get 2 pages because I'm still quite a ways from this first page. But I'll work on it. I'll work on it. So the first page ends like down here. So I have a bunch of witch left to do. Yeah, that's just not going to happen. There's just not enough time left. Okay, up next is in my Evertotes Gobble Till You Wobble bag. This was my supposed focus on a finish for November, and then I never worked on it because I had to play catch up so much on In This Moment. But this is Give Thanks by the Drawn Thread. Yeah, this might be too much to get done too. Okay. Well, it's good to know these things. I'm stitching this using the DMC substitutes for the NPIs called for, but then I am using the called for dinky dies, so it calls for a mix of those two. And this is on a 32 count Vintage Country Mocha from Zweigart, one of those printed ones. So yeah, there's a lot left to do here. It's not going to happen this year, which is unfortunate, but there we are. So we'll see what I get done, when that gets called, if it gets called, who knows. Okay, is this, oh, this is Nantucket Rose. I've got things upside down. Nantucket Rose by Lavender and Lace, started in 2016, pitiful amount of progress. It's okay, not a big deal. 32 count Belfast in Flax from Zweigart. And here's where I am. So 5 days, maybe get across to the other side. Who knows? Who knows? But this could very well get called for Whip Wranglers. Around the World in 80 Stitches. This one I'm really hoping gets called soon. Because I'd like to be able to set this up on the QSnap and just work on it for a few days and get that goal accomplished and get a whip go. This is just the first part of 24. This is a free series or a free sal. It's huge. It's a big sampler of specialty stitches around the world in 80 stitches. So they're kind of globally influenced and whatnot. This is also hashtag not a heart and the KD sampler. I am stitching it on 32 count Belfast in Friendship Green from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. And this is all I have done. I started this for Mania 2017 using a mix of different threads from various dyers and various companies with suggestive names like Hot Rod and Rosy Glow. Anyway, so that's where I'm at with this. And I don't have any big ambitions for what I'm going to get done in those 5 days, but if I could just work on it, that would be something for the first time since 2018. Yikes. Here is something, well, let's do this one first. This, I'm not going to reach my whip go goal for it, but I would like to finish the July Larkspur, which I started earlier this year, but just for whatever reason I couldn't get it finished. And I think it would take a couple of days. The paler one is mostly done. This darker one has a long ways to go. But yeah, I think it would be really great to just get that block finished. My goal for the year was to get 5 more flowers, so a total of 10. And that's just not going to happen. But at least getting another block done would be cool. So then I'd be well over halfway. I already am, but nonetheless. 32 count Belfast in Cream from Zweigart. Oh, a peek of the back. I meant to show you the back on all of these. Sorry. One day I'll remember. I just realized I don't have Glory of Autumn here. I hope that doesn't get called soon for Whip Wranglers because that's packed somewhere. Yeah. Can we talk about the silliness of trying to bounce around between a whole bunch of projects while moving? It's silly. Okay, so this is a project that I think I could finish. It wasn't on my WIPCO board, but if I could take a few less whips into the new year, that would be fun. This is Prairie Schooler ABCs. And I have made an executive decision with this. I am stopping after C. I'm not going to stitch the whole alphabet. I have fallen out of love with this project. I'm not into it anymore. I'm not gung-ho about stitching another 24 blocks of this, if you include the rest of the alphabet and the ampersand. I'm not into it. And to be totally honest, I mean, a part of that is my own personal feelings and about it. And also, Letitia, the crafty curator, is changing this to something to where the letters mean something much more than anchor and blackbird and cow. She changed A to A is for activism and B is for Black Lives Matter. And I am just so here for that I'm done after C. So I'm going to get C finished, and then I'm going to call it quits on this project. What I do with the charts, because I do have them all, is yet to be determined. I also need to frog out what I had started on D is for drum. But ABCs is enough for me, and maybe I'll change my mind in the future. Maybe I will be like, no, I really do want to do that. We'll see. But I'm just not feeling it now. I don't know why, but I've fallen out with this. So this is a 40 count Newcastle in platinum from Zweigart. I like the way that it looks. Prairie Schooler is kind of timeless, It's always going to look a little older, but not totally outdated. I don't know, but I'm out of love with it. I'm just not feeling it. I don't feel like working on it. So this is something that is on my Whip Wranglers list, I think. And if it is, then I'm going to work on it till this block is finished. And maybe get a finish for the year. We'll see. We'll see if it comes up. I don't have a whole lot left. Cow needs a head. Where is he? Cow needs a head, and then I have to do this side over here, but it's not a ton. It's not a ton left. So there's that. Yeah, I don't have Glory of Autumn. But I think that's it. So those are my December plans. I won't get to all of them. I certainly won't get all of the goals accomplished. I am at the dice's mercy. We'll see what the dice say I'm going to be doing, but nonetheless, those are the starting points, if you will. Okay, let's talk about 2021 a little bit. So first things first is WIPGO 2021. For me, my WIPGO is going to be very, very unambitious, if I'm being totally honest, at least in comparison to what I have done in years past. I have to be real with myself. I have to be brutally honest with myself. And I can't foresee being even as successful as I was this year next year. So I have had to severely reduce my goals, which was hard. It's very hard for me to do. So the big overarching theme of my plan for 2021 is my 2015 whips. I have 8 projects in my current list of whips. that I started in 2015. Here in 2020, I knocked out my remaining 2014 whips. Next year, I'd like to work on that for my 2015 whips. They're a little bit bigger, and some of them are not very far along. That includes in this moment. So in this moment is kind of like top priority, and 2015 whips secondary priority. So I have 8 of those. My whip go board is those 8 projects listed 3 times a piece. Yep. My whip go goal for each of those spaces is 5 days. My rotation, my thought about a rotation for next year, and again, I just don't know what this is going to actually look like, but this is kind of my thought, is to longer rotations. I'm not going to be able to stitch as much in each of those days, so I need to give myself longer periods of time to be able to work on them. So here's kind of what I think my rotation is going to look like. The average month, except for February, has a total of 6 5-day rotations. So the first 5-day rotation is in this moment. The second is Raven Queen. The next 2 are my whip go projects. The final 2, one is going to be my next oldest whip. So I'm going to sort of go through my oldest whips, starting within this moment. So January will have 2 in this moment rotations, potentially more because it's on my whip go board. And then the next month will be, I think Flowers of the Month is my next oldest whip. So in February, it will be Flowers of the Month. We'll fill that oldest whip, or next oldest whip, I think is what I've called that 5-day window. And then the final 5 days is going to be Sweewee. It's going to be an opportunity for me to work on whatever, work on nothing, work on, maybe I didn't finish my in this moment goal for the month, and so I need to go back and put some more time into it. Maybe I want to put more time into it just to try to get this goal accomplished, get this project done. 63,110 stitches works out to 5,282 for next year, every month. That's what I have to do every month next year. And that's a big ask. It's a really big ask. It's a lot less than this year, of course, but it's still a big ask with newborn around. So we're gonna see. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. So in this moment, it's got to get some consistent effort. And so that Sweewee window, that last 5-day rotation, and then also any remaining days in the month. So those 31-day months, we'll get some in this moment time potentially, or it'll be something else that I feel like working on, or it'll be something that I'm close to a finish on. Who knows? So there's that. I'm not going to show you the whip go board, and I'm not going to show you all 8 of the projects. You will probably, you know most of them, but maybe you don't know which ones I started in 2015 versus 2016, and I will save that for the whip parade. So I'm going to have 8 works in progress next year, and everything else is going to have to wait. I debated adding in a few other things just to keep it fresh, just to keep some more variety. I didn't get to 85 whips being a monogamous stitcher, but ultimately I think I've just got to keep it small. I've got to keep it small to work for me in this new season of life. So that's my whip go plan for 2021. Okay, groups that I plan on participating in next year. I'm going to stick with Semi-Sane Stitchers. They've always got something cool going on. I really like the creativity in the games that they play, so I'm going to stick with Semi-Sane. I'm also sticking with Daily 30 and Cross Stitcher's Journal. That is hosted by Cheryl. That is a closed group, not currently accepting new members. She has a year-long event coming that details are still forthcoming. I'm really curious to see what that is all about. We had to choose 4 focus projects for that event. So this year, for scavenger hunt, we needed 3. And next year we need 4 for a as yet unnamed year-long event. So I'm curious about that. And I always love Cheryl's weekly events. I love the creativity and the wide variety of things that she covers there. So I'll be going with that. And full coverage fanatics. If I'm gonna get in this moment done, I gotta be focused on some full coverage fanatics. So full coverage fanatics has some really great stuff coming next year. I'm super excited about the bookshelf challenge. So this year it was the National Parks Challenge. Next year this year they also had Around the World. So Around the World was the non-counting challenge of the year. National Parks was the counting challenge. Next year, the bookshelf challenge kind of fuses the two together. So the people who like to count versus those who don't like to count are still kind of doing the same thing. They picked 12 genres, and each month has its own focus genre. You can, if you stitch without counting, then you just have to match your project to the general themes. So January, the theme is classics, the classics. And so love and those projects that have kind of a vintage feel, and I'm trying to think of some of the other things they had listed as possible options for tying your project into the theme itself. But I count my stitches, so let's be honest, my focus was on the counting options. So for the counting option, they have 3 sort of examples of each genre. And January, I know Pride and Prejudice is one, and I can't think of the other 2. I can't think of what the other 2 are. I know that some of you are shouting them at me. It's okay. So they took the page count, multiplied it by 10, so stuck a 0 on it, and you need to do that many stitches on whatever. 1 project per book, but whatever project, it doesn't have to fit. So in this moment, it's totally not going to fit the classics because, yeah, she doesn't fit the classics. Anyway, and so you stitch the number of stitches to equal that page count times 10. You know what? Let me see if I can pull it up here real quick. Okay, so for January, the classics are Pride and Prejudice, The Great Gatsby, and Little Women. So, if you stitch all of it, I think it came to like 143,000 stitches, somewhere in that window. It's a lot. It's a lot of stitches. I'm not doing that much. No way. So what I think that I'm going to do is 1 book per month. I'm going to try to stitch for at least 1 book per month, totaling around 5,000. So I could do both Pride and Prejudice and Great Gatsby, and that would total close to 5,000. Or I could do Little Women, which on its own totals close to 5,000. I haven't decided yet which route I'm going to take, whether I'm going to try to accomplish more books or pick 1 per month. And for most of these genres, I have read 2 of the 3. So Pride and Prejudice and Great Gatsby are 2 of my favorite books ever. I have not read Little Women. So maybe I should stitch for that one and also read it. For February, the theme is romance, or the genre is romance. I have read Outlander and Notebook. I have not read Like Water for Chocolate, so maybe I stitch for that one. And for most of these, that is the case. I have read 2 and not a 3rd. So maybe. We'll see. I haven't decided what route I'm going to take or how many stitches I'm going to do for each of them. Or excuse me, how many books I'm going to do for each of them, not how many stitches. They have told me how many stitches I'd be doing. So that is the bookshelf challenge. In addition to the bookshelf challenge, every month they will have another event going alongside. It's going to alternate between month-long events and a weekend event. And I think we've done, no, we haven't done all of them. So some details are still to come on a few of these events. But so January is a month-long event, and February there will be a weekend event. And I can't remember what the theme for the weekend is, but we've done them in the past. Like there was like the ancient one where you work on your oldest full coverage, or there was one weekend where you work on the one that you love the most. There was the one weekend where we focused on your biggest, that kind of a thing. So January, the month-long event, is bingo. Bingo, so much fun. So they recently, within the last 2 weeks, released the prompts for January's bingo. We did bingo at the end of the summer this year. And so they've got a whole new list of prompts, and the same rules apply. If you do the counting version, it's 1,000 stitches to match the prompt. If you don't have a project to fit, then it's 2,000 stitches. Or you can do the no counting version, in which you make your project fit the prompt. If you do the no counting version, then you must make your project fit. There's no alternate option if you're doing the no counting version. So just putting that out there. I will, of course, be doing the counting version. Full coverage fanatics, you can triple, quadruple, quintuple dip. So no worries about that. I can work on the bookshelf challenge while working on the bingo, while working on 21 and 21, all at the same time. Those same stitches apply to all of them, so that's cool. Okay, so like I said, they released the prompts, and I sit down immediately and figure out where I can fit in this moment. And I found a line that I can complete with just in this moment. So here's just a rough printout, and this is the black and white edition. But so bird in this moment, designed with Blanc or B5200. In this moment has Blanc. Stitcher's choice. Project closest to being finished, definitely. And design with more than 21 colors. In this moment has 90. I have less than that left. I think I have 17 colors finished at this point. But anyway, more than 21. So there we go. So that I could do that line within this moment, in just 1,000 stitches each, and that would be my 5,000. However, I have this new start bouncing around in my head, and I keep not wanting to start it, and at the same time wanting to start it very badly. So I'll insert a preview here. It is Happy Holidays by an artist whose name is escaping me, and it features a Christmassy bulldog. I am not doing no starts 2021. I'm trying to limit my starts, but I'm not doing a full no new starts because I just don't need those kind of limitations. I would like to get my whip list down, but I'm just not committing myself fully to something like that. At this point in my life, I just don't think that it's the right time. The long story short is that I may start Happy Holidays in January, depending on Christmas. And if I do, then that fits for a whole lot more spaces. And so I could potentially get a different line if I were to do that. With Baby Girl Does Stuff's projected arrival date not being until the end of January, I have a little bit of a window. Obviously, that's dependent on a whole lot of things going exactly according to plan, which is usually not how life works. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So stay tuned for that to find out if I have that new start. It's been bouncing around in my head for a long time. I would really like to have like a true Christmassy whip, a full coverage project to work on. My snow castle is wintry, but it's not really Christmassy. And I really love that project. So anyway, so that is bingo. And that kind of covers it for what my plan for 2021 is. Lots of time spent on the same small subset of whips, just for simplicity's sake. Okay, let's get to our last topic, which is going to be very fast, and that is going to be some Stitchy Kindness / haul. Okay, we're going to start with the Stitchy Kindness. I got something in the mail that was a complete surprise. It went to my neighbor's house first, and then it finally made it over here to me. So I received this from Vicky at Stitch and Button. And you see that clock? It's awfully reminiscent of the Persistence of Memory. She made one for Sammy J because we are both doing that Alice in a Dolly Dream. Sammy's is the mini, mine is the full gargantuan one that I have, what, 1,200 stitches in total, I think? But it is a scissor fob or zipper pull. Mine's going to be a scissor fob for a little while because I don't have that project in a project bag yet. Yet. Operative word. Yet. So, thank you, Vicky. This is beautiful. I will link her Facebook shop in the description box below. She sells project bags and all sorts of gorgeous stitchy notions, including more zipper pulls like this one. Oh, love that. And I love those blues. Yeah, really, really awesome. So thank you, Vicky. Okay, up next, I got my of the month things. I didn't bring the threads. Y'all have seen Color and Cotton threads, and they were my November threads. So like, I'm almost at the point where I'm going to be getting my December threads, so that's fine. And Gast is the same way. But I did think that I would show you the fabric of the month from Color and Cotton. So this is Bellini. And it is a beautiful peachy neutral. It's not showing up as rich as it is in real life, but it's fairly close. And my subscription with Color and Cotton fabric is a 40 count Newcastle fat quarter. And I get this every other month. So I get it in the odd months. Yes, this is November's. So there you go. That's a better idea of what the fabric looks like. The sun has come out, so there's that. And then the last thing I got is also kind of an auto thing. It is the Hands-on Design Let's Talk series. She released Winter. From what I understand, Winter was in a magazine. She has charted a new version for these chart packs. So that is what Winter, Let's Talk Winter. Super gorgeous. I almost started this. I almost did Vlogmas and 12 days of Vlogmas, I should say. I wasn't going to, and then I got enabled by everybody doing Vlogmas or Flossmas. And so then I was like, well, maybe I could. And then I had planned out 12 potential Christmassy or winter new starts. And then I was just like, no, let's just be real with our actual time available here. And so I had to put that idea on hold. But anyway, I love this. And I will look forward to starting it at some point. I don't think it's going to happen before the end of the year. I'm not really feeling the new starts right now. That's not true. There may be one that I start next Thursday. It is the Cooler Designed 'Twas the Night before Christmas one that I almost started back in July. So that may get started, but we'll see. Cross that bridge when we get there. I think that's it. I think that's everything that I have to talk about today. Made it through. Whew, that's a relief. I hope that everybody's doing well. I hope that you are doing your best to enjoy this holiday season, however weird it looks for you. It's weird for me. We're gonna do a Zoom Christmas. Yeah, we're doing a Zoom Christmas. And we're moving like the 2 days beforehand, and it's a lot going on right now. But it's okay, because if we do the weird Christmas this year, then it means that we can have the good Christmases next year and forward. It's not fun, but you know, it's what we got to do. So that's what we're doing. Low key, super chill Christmas this year. It is what it is. Anyway, I'm gonna head off here. I hope that, like I said, I hope that everybody's doing well. I hope that you're stitching. As always, be kind. Please keep wearing your mask. All that fun stuff. All right. See y'all in the next one.